The following podcast is an RMG Media production.
It's time we go beyond the handshake. It's time we deepen business relationships and take it to the next level of cultivating and building relationships past that business card exchange and beyond the initial handshake. Welcome to Beyond the Handshake, where we will take a deep dive into getting to know businesses and business owners, why they do what they do in business, what drives them to success, why they work so hard, what they struggle with, what they succeed in, and tips they have for other businesses to learn from their experiences. I am Lucy Miller, founder and CEO of Women Connect. Let's go beyond the handshake. Today's episode is with Jessica Baladad. An unexpected breast cancer diagnosis at 33 years old empowered Jessica to channel her experience into a mission that's changing the way women advocate for their medical care. The 6-year cancer survivor created Feel for Your Life, a free mobile app that shows women how to perform self-exams, track their progress, and set monthly reminders. It's the first of its kind, created by a breast cancer patient, and has been downloaded tens of thousands of times all over the world. In 2024, Jessica implemented an AI feature into the app to help patients interpret and better understand pathology reports from their breast cancer screenings. Since launching the app, Jessica has engaged with businesses, nonprofits, and community organizations to equip audiences with her expertise on auditing and negotiating medical bills, advocating for informed medical decision-making, and delivering strategies to reduce healthcare costs. Jessica has also played a pivotal role in shaping legislative policy to advance transformative healthcare reform. She has successfully secured congressional support for federal legislation designed to overhaul the operations of insurance companies and pharmacy benefit managers with a focus on enhancing accessibility and affordability for patients. Wow. In today's episode, we talk about Jessica's experience as a breast cancer survivor and how that has fueled her to help women all over the world not only be more aware of how they can prevent and diagnose early, but how to advocate for themselves. Let's get started. All right. I am so excited about today's episode. I've got Jessica Baladad on and just really excited to chat with her and understand her business, Feel for Your Life, and her app she has created. And I'm just really excited to hear all about it. So thanks for being on here today.
I am so grateful to be here with you today, Lucy. Thank you so much. I look up to what you do. You've been a mentor to me, and you helped get things started for Feel for Your Life from a business standpoint last year when I was the Mona Lisa recipient.
I was going to say.
Renaissance Marketing.
I remember getting to meet you and getting to work with you through that process. That was so cool for you, I'm sure. It was really cool to even get to know you through that process.
Yeah. And I'm just grateful for the time that you took with me and the wisdom and everything that you introduced me to through that. So I'm just grateful. So thank you for having me today.
Welcome. I loved it. And I just think, I say this all the time, but mainly through Women Connect, I feel like I have the most amazing women in my life that are just one text away or one email away. And so when I was thinking about people I wanted to have on the show, you've been on my mind for a while. And so when I finally was able to text you, you were like, yes.
Yes. Awesome.
So excited.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I don't know anyone that has created an app. So I'm really excited to talk with you about that and all the mission behind it. But tell us the backstory, what really drove you to create your company and what all that you do with it.
Yeah. So I never said, when I grow up, I'm going to get breast cancer and create an app that could potentially save lives all over the world.
You didn't think that that was part of your future?
No. When you're in kindergarten and you're like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Like, I wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to be a journalist. And now I'm in breast cancer and advocacy and medical health and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I found a lump in my breast when I was 18 years old. I was a freshman in college, and it turned out to be a benign tumor called a fibroadenoma, which is something that occurs really commonly in women of menstruating ages.
Okay.
I also had a history of breast cancer in my family. So putting those things together, when I find this lump, I'm like, oh my God, is this cancer? Am I too young to get cancer at 18? Well, it's extremely rare, thankfully.
Okay.
But it was growing and it was hormonally fueled. So I had it removed. And it was that experience that put me in the habit of performing monthly self-exams throughout adulthood.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So needed. I know we're going to talk all about that.
So you fast forward 15 years later, I'm I had just turned 33 years old. I'm in the shower performing an intentional self-exam. This time I thought, okay, I found a lump. I just went to the doctor. Surely the doctor would have said something about this. But as it turned out, I found out later she thought I was too young for cancer. And
oh my goodness.
yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole story behind that, but I was eventually diagnosed with stage 2B invasive ductal carcinoma or breast cancer. And I did chemotherapy, I did radiation, I had a double mastectomy, I had a preventative hysterectomy, and I had flap reconstruction where they take fat tissue and blood vessels from my stomach and place them into my chest to recreate my body.
Wow.
And out of all of that, Feel for Your Life was born. It's a short answer.
It's a short answer.
It's a short answer.
Sure, that was very hard and painful and trying.
Traumatizing.
Yeah,
and all the
traumatizing.
things. Yeah.
Wow. And how many years did that span?
Let's see. I was diagnosed in August of 2018.
Okay.
I completed treatment in May of 2019 and went into remission.
Okay.
But I still had surgeries with my reconstruction.
Right.
Because I had radiation in 2019, they said in 2020, you can have your reconstruction. We need to give your skin a year to heal. And I thought, all right, 2020 is going to be my
Your year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people thought that going into 2020.
Right. I thought it's going to be my year. I'm going to get my new boobs. Everything's going to look great. And I was very excited. That did not happen.
Oh
I went about 2 years being flat chested. There was a lot of mental struggle behind that, not feeling like I was in my body, not feeling feminine and struggling with that. But, I overcame it. Everything worked out. And, I'm really passionate about my advocacy and all the options and choices women have whenever they're choosing reconstruction or choosing their breast cancer treatment or choosing the prophylactic or preventative measures that they want to take in their breast health.
Wow. So how old were you then? I can't do the math that fast on. You were 33 then when you were, okay.
Yep. 33 when I was diagnosed. I'm 39 now. So I'm a 6-year breast cancer survivor.
Amazing. Let's clap for that. Amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. So you had this journey of overcoming. You obviously noticed some things that were missing in women's lives from being able to detect this early and potentially not having that support from your doctor. So talk to me about then what you did.
When I was going through chemotherapy and coming out to my friends and saying, hey, I have breast cancer. I decided I'm not going to live under a rock. I'm losing my hair. I just need to tell people.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh my God, how did you even know to get tested for this? And I said, well, I do my self-exams every month, right after my period, don't you? And I thought it was something that women just knew to do. We just didn't really talk about it. I was doing it, but my friends and family, people in my family were, but most of my friends weren't. It was just crickets. And I thought, oh my God, there's a problem here.
Yeah. Well, because that's not something, like it doesn't come up in conversation. Oh, I did this today. So you don't know if people aren't doing it or they don't know to do it or if they forget. I mean, I would probably put myself in the category of don't think about it.
Sure. Yeah. When I was talking to women, I found out there were 3 primary reasons that they weren't doing their self-exams. One, no one ever really taught them, or they never really thought about it, like you said. They were ashamed of their bodies, or they were uninsured or underinsured, and they were afraid of finding something and not knowing what to do next.
Oh, goodness.
And that's where I started to see that there were problems. Breast cancer was affecting me. I knew it was potentially something that could affect other women. And I thought, I need to do something about this. Millennials are getting breast cancer. This is happening. We're no longer, invincible in our 20s with our whole lives ahead of us. We have to take care of ourselves. Yeah. So I wanted to do something about that. And Feel for Your Life started first as a social media project where I was just sharing my journey, talking about advocacy, how to take care of your breast health. And it was just something that I was doing for fun.
Yeah.
I was working full time at the time. And I thought, this is really cool. I'm building this community. I'm building connections with people and even brands who are reaching out, medical providers, their vendors. They want to know more about what I'm talking about and what I'm doing. So it just started out as something.
Organically.
Organically doing it for fun.
I love that.
And then the pandemic hit. And the NFL had heard about Fuel for Your Life and what I was doing. I had met someone from the NFL who really liked the advocacy that I was doing. And they took me to the Super Bowl in 2020, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who played that year?
It was the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Okay, I was like, are you going to remember?
Yes, it was the Chiefs and the 49ers. It was the first time that they met, and actually where I kind of fell in love with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
because I saw him make a huge comeback.
Yeah.
And as someone who has made a comeback from cancer, like that really resonated to see that victory.
Comeback kid.
Yeah.
Love that.
Went into the game not cheering for anyone, just wanted to see a great outcome. And I thought, well, we're here at the Super Bowl. I hope it goes into overtime so that we get to experience this longer. It was in Miami that year, and my husband is a Dolphins fan. So he was in the Dolphins Stadium enjoying everything and the atmosphere. We had never been to Miami. It was just like the coolest experience ever getting to be around. It was just a party every day. So we were having the time of our lives.
I bet.
Yeah. And so that was in February of 2020. And then I remember the week after that, I had my hysterectomy. Recovering from that, I had my birthday in March. And that's when it was announced, hey, everything is shutting down. And I remember in my 20s, I've shut some bars down on my birthday. I've never shut down like a whole country before.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of funny how it worked out.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, yeah. I remember when all that happened. We were at the beach.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Fast forward a couple months into it, the NFL reached back out to me and said, hey, we are learning that people are missing their preventive screenings and they're getting diagnosed at later stages. Women are getting diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer because they're missing their mammograms or missing their screenings. They're not going to the doctor. We would love for you to participate in our Crucial Catch campaign. And I thought, oh my God, yes, please. And so they sent me a drop kit. We did everything over Zoom and fixed up like an iPhone and how to record everything. It was super cool. It ran on social media.
Yeah.
And I love that experience. But I remember thinking, oh my God, people are missing their appointments. I remember a self-exam saying, my life, I'm going to do something with this. And I started laying out the blueprint for an app. And I thought, I don't know how to do this. I have a background in marketing, journalism, psychology. What can I do? What can I create? What do I need to learn? What are the tools, resources, and assets that I need to put this together? What is the desired outcome that I want to have to make this come to fruition? And I thought, I'm going to create an app. So I got the right people to mentor me and to teach me, the platform to host everything. And I just taught myself what I needed to know to create the outcome that I wanted with Fuel for Your Life as an app. And it took about a year from conception to launch date. And it's now been downloaded over, I think when I was checking, 67,000 times at this point.
Amazing.
All over the world. Yeah.
I just can't even believe like you taught yourself how to do things to make an app. Like that's amazing. And then the purpose behind it. It's helping so many women.
Right. Yeah.
So walk us through what all is in the app. What all do women do with this app?
So when you download the app, you're going to create a profile. And what it's going to do, it's going to show you how to perform a self-exam.
Okay.
You'll do a self-exam by the method that you work with your doctor. I want this to be a tool that you use with your doctor. Let them know that you're using it so you can find out the best method for performing a self-exam.
Okay.
And maybe even get into a screening routine too, because I have resources in there for that as well. So you'll perform a self-exam. There are a series of prompts that ask you questions about the self-exam that you did so that you can keep notes and your progress so that you understand what you're doing, what's going on, and how your breasts are presenting during that time. And then like it'll send you an email when you're finished and it'll save your results right there in the app. So you have it in both locations and take it to the doctor and say, hey, I've been doing my self-exams. This is what I'm finding. Is anything concerning to you? Of course, if you ever find something that is different or abnormal, always talk to your doctor about it. It's just a place to keep record of it. From there, you can set a reminder so that you never forget to perform your next self-exam. And then as AI became so big, and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to take this a step further. I want to incorporate AI into the Feel for Your Life app. Women who go and get screenings, you get back these pathology reports into your online portal. So you have something called the Cures Act. And the Cures Act says that a medical provider has to give you your results as soon as possible so that you have access to your medical information right away. Well, sometimes that means you see things before talking to a doctor and you get results that aren't always that great, and it can be confusing, or you just don't understand what it says.
Yeah.
So, if you don't immediately go into a paranoid binge Googling everything.
Tailspin of fear, right?
Right. I created an AI tool inside the app. I call it Breast Friend AI. And
cool.
you can copy and paste your pathology report from your online portal, paste it into Breast Friend AI, and it'll translate it into terms that you understand.
So great.
Yeah, out of that medical jargon into plain language. And it'll also automatically populate questions for you to ask your doctor based on your specific pathology. So you're not in the dark about your results.
Yeah. So important. I know that you work on a lot on the advocacy side and just helping women feel more empowered and powerful in making decisions. But asking the right questions is so important too.
Absolutely. We don't always think and we freeze when we see these things and we're like, I don't know what I need to ask. I don't know what I need to do. So it'll populate those for you and give you a direction to go in with your medical provider.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I love the reminder piece of that too, because God, the months fly by.
Right.
You're like, it's before you know it, we're in a new month. I mean, we were just talking about, we're almost at Thanksgiving. It's crazy. So I think that's great. Well, so really it's out there for any woman to be able to download.
Yep.
What does the support look like for your company? Is that doctors being supportive? Is that who is your main support?
Doctors and providers who have been supportive of the app. I also have many brand deals with companies and organizations and nonprofits that align with my mission, my vision, and my values and what I do. They see me out there. They see the advocacy that I'm promoting, and they want to be part of it too. They see these tens of thousands of women who are on the app, using the app, tracking, advocating, going to the doctor, taking those prophylactic or preventative steps in their breast health, or they're on the other side of breast cancer, or they have breast cancer. I have many women in the stage 4 community who use the app to translate their pathology reports for their next step. So it's just been used by all kinds of women, no matter what step or stage they are in their breast health advocacy. And it's just been amazing to be able to support them with the vendors and the brand partnerships that I have.
Is there any communication between any of the people on the app, or do you hear much direct feedback from?
I hear feedback. I did have a community feature that I had built into that, but it's got a lot to maintain when you have a bunch of people having conversations.
Yes.
You're trying to moderate that.
I'm sure. I can't imagine.
Okay, I can't do all of this. So I temporarily have taken it down.
Okay.
And I'm trying to find a better way that I can offer that. But I have women who get engaged primarily on my Instagram and my DMs, through email, at different events where they see me in person.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of feedback from that.
Yeah. Do you have a success story that comes to mind, or a really fun story?
I have so many women who have said, hey, because of you, I'm doing my self-exams now. I'm getting screened. And then on occasion,
a win.
Yes, absolutely. I had one person who said, there's breast cancer that runs in my family. I went to the doctor, I got genetic testing done, and I've decided to move forward with preventative surgeries that can reduce my risk in the future. She had a double mastectomy with reconstruction, and she had a hysterectomy.
Wow.
And my app was just a starting point for her. So I call that a huge win.
That absolutely is.
Yeah. I've had women who said, hey, I found a lump. It ended up not being anything, but now I'm talking to my doctor about these things and how to get screened, especially, these women who are under 40 who struggle to get screened because of the age limitation that's set on screening. It's harder for women under 40 to get screened.
Yeah.
Now that they have a record, they're doing their self-exams, they're talking to their families about their genetic disposition to cancer, and they're getting those referrals for screenings from their doctor now. So I love hearing about that. There's a woman who did have breast cancer. No one explained to her how to do a self-exam after cancer until she downloaded my app. She found a local...
After cancer.
Right. Yeah. It just never...
Yeah.
Yeah. But she found my app.
Yeah.
Did a self-exam, found a local reoccurrence, and got it taken care of. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, she had, more treatment options ahead of her. So it's just stories I hear like that all the time that I absolutely love and that keep me going.
I was going to say, I bet that does keep you going.
Absolutely.
What What have been like some of, because this is all like such a huge success, but I know it wasn't like all rosy and easy. So nothing is, right? That's worthwhile. What would you say have been some of the hard things about either, whether it be starting the app or like outside of being a cancer survivor? Like that is probably the number one on the hard, I would bet.
When I was going through the beginning stages of building the app, I had a platform and everything set up. I taught myself how to use this platform, how to code it, and the things that I could add to it. And I had my reconstruction surgery, the deep flap reconstruction, and that requires at least a 3-day stay in the ICU. And it's standard procedure for it. It's because it was a 10-hour surgery and they connect blood vessels and had to make sure everything was going to work properly. It takes a few days for them to.
It was like 3 days in the ICU.
Yeah, it's standard procedure. So I got an email, and anesthesia affects my eyes. And I remember like I'm clearing my eyes and just struggling, and I'm checking my email when I can finally look at my phone. And I see this email from my mentor who was like, the server where your app was being stored has burned down. And I'm like,
what?
Yeah.
Burned down?
Where it was the place where it was being held, the server unit area, it burned. And I had to start over. And I'm like, I wasn't even sure. Like one, I was in excruciating pain at the time.
Wow.
And I'm just like getting this news. It hurt to cry. And so I'm just like, I'm like, this isn't meant to happen. You know, right now I look like Frankenstein. I don't have an app. Is this meant to happen? Is this all a sign? It just right. So I had to start all over again.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's kind of the story of my life. I had to start all over again. Something happens and I have to start all over again. And it's just accepting the reality of that hard things are going to happen. Challenges are going to happen. You're going to have those obstacles. Do the hard things to get over them.
Right.
It's going to happen. You can't always control it, but you can control the actions that you take. So what steps do you need to take to get through it, to get over it?
I love that. Well, and you're stronger than you even think that you are.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only when you're presented with something like that do you really realize how strong you can be.
Right.
And what it can push you to do.
Yeah. I would say my breast cancer diagnosis was kind of a metaphor and really just familiarizing myself with physical pain and the things that I experienced through cancer. I always go back, well, I went through this and it sucked really, really bad. Could anything else get worse than that? I'm like, well, if I got through that, then I can do all this other hard stuff too.
Oh, that's so inspiring. What else is hard? The day to day. What does a typical day look like from you? Other than when you go be on the news and all sorts of, which I want to talk about some media stuff you've done.
Sure.
But like a normal day.
Yeah. It's a lot of emails. I start my day, after I get up pretty early around 5:30 in the morning and I hit the gym. My workout routine is huge in my life.
I agree.
So I hit the gym, come home, shower. It is email time. It is like looking at everything, you know, are there media appearances that I need to answer to? I do a lot of legislative advocacy at the federal level, and I'm keeping up with bills and things that I'm advocating for there.
I want to stop you there. Sure. What does that look like? Like, what are you're going to DC? You're taking meetings?
So I'm
telling your story?
I'm meeting with members of Congress. I'm telling my story, and I'm talking about the issues in healthcare that affect all people. It's closing the loopholes that insurance companies are exploiting to deny patients care. That's the short answer.
Okay.
Lots of medical acronyms and whatnot, but I'm advocating for the things that can bring both sides of Congress together. Believe it or not, red and blue will make purple. And it's things both sides will agree on to come together on to get things done for everyone who's affected. You know, if you use healthcare, if you use insurance, you're affected by the things that I'm advocating for, things like pharmacy benefit managers, quality of life scores, copay accumulators, things that affect how much we're spending on our healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about preventative maintenance and care ahead of time? Is that part of,
Sure. There's something called the Find It Early Act that I've been advocating for. And basically what it does is it would create a federal mandate so that all insurance companies would cover supplemental screenings for women if they have dense breast tissue and need additional screenings other than a mammogram. So you get a mammogram and you have dense breast tissue. And that can make it hard for lumps, bumps, and abnormalities to be picked up. So you may need additional screening. Well, depending on what state you live in right now, this is covered in the state of Tennessee. It may come out of pocket for you, but in Tennessee,
to get the extra screening,
right
that is
now,
wild.
Yeah. So the Find It Early Act would create a federal mandate that would require all states and for the insurance companies to cover it in all states. Yeah.
Wow. So what can the everyday woman do to help make that better for all women? I mean, I don't have a voice going to Congress, but you do. Like, what does that look like for someone like me that could help with that? Or just
anybody has a voice. Yeah. Familiarize yourself with who your congressional members are, who is in your district, who is representing you. And you can get on that person's website, send them an email. They have staffers that go over that, build those relationships. Those staffers, they're like 20-something. Some of them even are interns, but just relate to them. Tell your story. Let them know who you are, what you do, and say, hey, I'm a constituent in my congressional member's area. These are the things that I care about. Do they care about me, and do they care about these issues? What are they looking at? And let me tell you what they should be looking at.
I love that. And you're just doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that you've got that whole other arm that wraps into everything that you're doing with Feel for Your Life.
Yeah. So I just basically heard from women on my platform who are having these issues with their healthcare, with their insurance companies and their medical bills. I got involved with an organization called Patients Rising, who has just been a huge influence in my advocacy and teaching me the issues, and the people there, Terry Wilcox and McKay Jimson, are just wonderful people who have just been incredible mentors to me. They kind of lay the groundwork in teaching me the things that I need to know and how to use my voice effectively. And I just got involved. I raised my hand and said, hey, what needs to be done here? And they've pointed me in the right direction for that.
That's amazing. Okay. So typical day. I totally got you derailed.
That's okay.
Emails.
Yeah.
Working on, the legislative issues.
Yeah, legislative issues, media appearances, looking at, what content do I need to create for my socials, my email campaigns, and administrative stuff, things where I need admin. Admin.
There's admin.
Yeah, the typical admin stuff. Where do I need to send invoices? Who do I need to contact with? What meetings am I taking with potential brand deals and things like that. So that's a typical day. That'll get my day started and what I need to do and mapping out the rest of it.
So what would you say is your favorite thing about what you do now?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I wake up
a lot of it.
I am excited about everything that I do every day with Feel for Your Life. I'm just so passionate about this. I love seeing the progress that we're actually making in Congress. Even with the election right now, Congress is very motivated to get some things passed that I've been working on and moving it into the next year even. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the women that I hear from. I'm excited about seeing a piece of content that I've posted and how it's resonating with the audiences and the women that I care about, and that it's teaching them and informing them of the things that they can do for themselves.
What's an audience of women that you feel like you need to reach more of? I mean, I know, so you're doing a lot on Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
Is there an age group that you wish you could target more, or that you wish could see more of what you're doing?
I would say Gen Z.
Okay.
I'm starting to pull them in more, especially like old, they're not old, but maybe those mid 20-somethings where they start to kind of familiarize themselves with healthcare. They have their grown-up jobs and they're navigating insurance. It's usually when I start to see them come over, because they start asking those questions about what's a deductible, what's a premium, what's a co-payment, things like that.
Yeah.
And, wanting to reach more of them because, they're very conscious. They're pretty health conscious as well. And so just reaching more of them and helping them be more familiar with their healthcare and the things that they can do to take care of themselves. Because unfortunately, and again, it's not super common, but I do talk to women in their mid-20s, early 20s, and even late teens who have breast cancer.
So that seems so early. And I was just talking about that. Why is that? Is it happening earlier than it used to?
Whenever I was diagnosed, I had a radiology tech say that she is seeing women get younger and younger coming in for MRIs and CT scans because they have breast lumps and cancer. I can't point to a specific thing. I never want a woman to blame herself for her choices that she's made or make her think that she did anything to bring it on herself. But I mean, I don't want to get all conspiracy theory either, but there's a lot of stuff out there that may point
things in our food I mean, that's just a good point that I'm 41 and I actually do have breast cancer that runs in my family. And so I had a baseline mammogram a few years ago. And so that was great to have. But I was 38 when that happened. So nothing was done or thought about other than my annual visit, prior to that. But those are young ages you're talking about. I mean, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things I think that are important to know if you're going to get that baseline right now, it was back in September, the FDA said, hey, starting now going forward, medical providers or your mammogram provider has to tell you about your breast density and if it'll affect future screenings and your risk for breast cancer in the future. So it's a really good thing to know because if you have dense breast tissue and you get a mammogram and it's oh, hey, it's all clear, but maybe you should have gotten an ultrasound in that same appointment as well. And that's something that you can talk to your provider for as well.
That's good to know. Yeah. So are you're reaching them probably mostly through media, that age group specifically, and Instagram.
Absolutely.
I would bet. Do it, lots of education. That's awesome. That's so good. Okay, so tell me you've had some exciting media appearances lately. I bet that was a lot of fun.
It was.
Tell me about it.
So much fun. So October is the Super Bowl of breast health, right?
Yeah. So
it's everything turns pink and it's about advocacy. It's about celebrating life. It's about, informing people of their breast risk and, motivating them to take action as well. I'm about, action and advocacy and awareness for the month of October. Those are 3 things that I stand on for that month. And so I partnered with a company out of New York City called Sugarwood, and they make naughty desserts. I know, right? And for it's great for bachelorette parties, but for October, they were going to add boobies to their repertoire of things that they offer. So I
never before been talked about on my podcast.
Okay, so
here we go.
First time, right? So
we knew this was coming.
Yeah. So they make cookies and waffles, pastries, things like that. And they taste amazing. They do. But when I met Austin is his name, and what the mission, he is, an advocate in sexual health. And so I'm well, I've got breast covered. We can collaborate for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And he had, let's do it. Let's, do this together. And so he knew someone who knew someone on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and that got us connected on that show, and we got to appear as the bartenders for the night.
That's so fun.
It was super, super cool. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I can't even imagine being on that kind of stage.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It was a party.
Yeah,
it was a really good time, and Andy is so sweet.
Yeah. Well, what a better way to bring in awareness to people that are watching that may not have already been exposed to you as far as the education you provide and all that you do with Feel For Your Life.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thank you. And I got to shout out Brielle Cotterman.
I was just about to say, I know we learned a lot from her at about the same time too.
Yeah. Her and Heather French Henry and Haley just really prepped me. They pitched me to different media networks, in Knoxville and Lexington and Chattanooga and Nashville. Just everywhere. And you notice, Lexington and Chattanooga and Knoxville are that Appalachia area. So I was born in Appalachia, Kentucky, up in northeastern Kentucky, and they call it Chemical Alley. There are a lot of chemical plants and coal mines, and cancer really affects that area.
Wow.
So I felt like that area was really drawn to my story and the advocacy and the app that I created because of the awareness that it created and the action that it prompts people to take. So that area was very receptive and very supportive of Feel For Your Life when I appeared on the media out there as well.
I bet. Well, again, sharing your story, and Brielle teaches us this, is such a huge magnet to you and what you provide and the ways you can impact people through your story. And you've got a really incredible one. How did you prep to be on the Andy Cohen show, though? I mean,
that was, oh my gosh. So it was, I had never met Austin in person. I went to a store I just went to New York City. I brought my sister with me. Yeah. She navigated the subway system.
It's good. Yeah, I've never been to New York.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. But she navigated the subway system and let me sit my adrenaline and anxiety.
Just tell me where to go.
Just tell me where to go and I'll follow you. And she was amazing. And so I met with him. I got to see how his shop worked and operated. And it was a lot of paperwork. And, sign here, sign this, to be on that show. And, I created a reel where we got there. They had a green room for us with snacks. I'm not a drinker, but they were serving unlimited drinks all night if that's your choice, So it was basically just be yourself and smile and, show off your brand. And I really wanted to make sure that Sugarwood and Austin and all of his stuff was really displayed prominently out there. And, they talked about the app as well. And it was just go out there, be yourself and have fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. Well, so what would be, I talk a lot about connections and relationship building. It's so important with what we do with Women Connect and bringing women together and growing their businesses. But what's a good connection for you? Like what would be a company or a type of company that you feel like would be a great introduction if someone is listening and had a connection?
I've always wanted to connect with telehealth and bring that on as a sponsor to the Feel for Your Life app.
To provide telehealth.
To provide telehealth. If a woman is doing a self-exam or just has a question about her breast and who can reach out and say, hey, where can I go to get a referral for a screening or just talk about, women's health. Any products like that feature, women's health and their advocacy. Some of the brands that I have worked with, there is something called, the Aware Pad that helps women do self-exams. I have a partnership with a brand called Radiant Wrap where they give you wraps to wear to medical appointments. Cupshe is one that I want to work with because they provide the prosthetics to that you can put in your bra or wear it in place of a bra to give you just kind of support and protection there. It's just so anything that aligns with women's health. And if you are on board with breast health advocacy, I want to work with you.
Oh, I love that. Love that. Well, I do really feel like there's power in who you know and the connections out there. It's a small world. I say that all the time. And so maybe someone listening will have a connection to that. I'm already thinking of some people in my brain that I could connect you to that aren't one of those that you listed, but that could be a good opportunity for something.
For sure. So, that's wonderful.
Well, and lastly, I love to kind of wrap up our discussions with the question, but what does Beyond the Handshake mean to you?
For me, in the breast cancer community, we give a lot of hugs of support. So it's like after the hug or beyond the handshake, have I left a woman better than where I first met her? Have I empowered her in some way in her breast health advocacy? Have I given her information to help her make better decisions for her breast health? Have I done something that makes her feel more confident and better about herself? So those are the things that I think I would focus on.
Love it. Oh, I love that answer. I love to ask that of every guest, and everyone has a different answer, but they're all amazing. And so I love yours. Thank you for that. Well, thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so in awe of all that you're doing. And I think it's an amazing, you took obviously a really hard thing in your life, and you turned it into something really beautiful, and the impact you're making on women, all over the United States and world, I'm sure. And just really proud of you. You've done big things.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Lucy.
Yeah, excited to cheer you on. So thanks for being here.